I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up trans rights. Wyoming quietly restricts gender marker changes on IDs without public notice. Wyoming has become the 9th U.S. state to do this. The policy change, first reported by Transitics, came weeks after it already had taken effect. It requires residents to present an amended birth certificate to update their gender marker. However, because the state has already blocked those amendments, the rule creates a de facto ban on accurate identification for many transgender people. The move is part of a broader wave of restrictions across the U.S., with several Republican-led states tightening rules around identity documents in recent months. In Wyoming, the shift follows earlier legal and administrative changes, including the rollback of a long-standing policy in November of 2025 that had allowed gender marker updates on birth certificates through court orders. With no media coverage or public comment during the rulemaking process, the policy was implemented largely unnoticed. Advocates say that without accurate IDs, transgender residents may face barriers in voting, travel, employment, and housing, while also risking being outed in everyday interaction. This is just ridiculous. I mean, how transgender people are here. And if you are not allowing them to have appropriate IDs, I mean, what's going to happen? You can't have trans men going into women's rooms. You can't have trans women going into men's room. With people saying the opposite, it's ridiculous. And when you go to vote, how are you going to prove that you are who's on the ID?
That's exactly it. They want them to have to move back into a cave somewhere.
Or are you going to have to disrobe?
Well, I don't think...
Some it doesn't even, you can't even disrobe.
I think the whole point is that they don't want trans people. First of all, they don't believe in trans identity, the people that are creating these rules and policies and changing these structures around getting your ID. So that's number one, I think. They don't want... And I guess they feel that if you're going to exist begrudgingly, don't leave your house. They don't want you to vote. They don't want you to exist in society. And it's very Orwellian to say, well, as long as you present an amended birth certificate, but they've closed off the avenues for providing that through the legislature, if I heard correctly, so they can stand under the cover of, well, that was what the legislature did. Right. We're in our lane. We're going to stay in our lane. They're going to stay in their lane. And once they, quote unquote, maybe get their act together in terms of allowing amended birth certificates, then these people will have an avenue to get their ID. It's all very cynical and it's all done in bad faith. And
really just want to find a way to wipe them out of the actual society and put them back into situations that are for 100 years ago, that they had to go live in a cave, or they all lived in the same apartment and one person's name was on the lease because the rest of them had no IDs. This is how we used to live. I mean, this is how we all used to live, not just trans people, and that's what they want.
Well, we are talking about Wyoming, and what did we expect from the place where Matthew Shepard was brutally beaten and left to die?
Through that.
Did we expect sensitivity, civility,
I mean, and maybe they think they can make all the trans people leave. I hope one of them has a trans kid any day now.
I don't, because they will abuse that.
And they'll suffer.
Good point.
That child will suffer.
Okay, I take it back. But you know what I'm saying.
I understand.
Just like how the movement started and we said someone who knows a gay person is going to be different about this stuff. And, they just clearly think that they don't know anybody that's a worthwhile human being that's trans, which is ridiculous.
I just want to point out that 30 years ago, we were the trans people.
Yep.
And I only say that because I believe that we will get past this. I also believe that many people will suffer and many people will die before trans people can see the acceptance that LGBT folks have finally started to see. Now, that's not across the board, but I am hopeful.
But the question is, how many times every 30 years now we're going to have to go through these challenges like this?
Well,
maybe.
Or
maybe not.
My question is the reason why LGBT people have quote unquote respectability, and we play this game of respectability politics, because transgendered people are now seen as the other. So we, gay people, lesbians, can be seen as quote unquote the normies, and the T's in the LGBT can be seen as the ones that are outside of the umbrella now. So I do take your point that, we were at one point shunned from the community, and now we're not so much anymore in the mainstream community because we found another branch of our brother and sisterhood to ostracize.
It's
So
interesting that you say that because I was thinking about how we used to stay safe. Back to your point, it was to pass.
Right.
Assimilation.
And lots of trans people can still pass, but now they can't because your ID isn't right.
Exactly.
Right.
terrible.
Well, there's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.